Hello everyone, it is Christian here from the Calcio Bros, and I am hoping everyone had a good Christmas, good holiday so far. I know circumstances were different this year, but I'm hoping everyone could celebrate to the best that they can with the family that they're close with. So I hope everyone's enjoying the time. So with also that Christmas, that also meant the last round of Serie A that happened on the 22nd and 23rd, last games of the year. And again, that means it's time for another video. So hopefully you guys enjoy hearing my voice discussing the latest round of Serie A. So what I'm going to do is going to go over the results, just go over some key talking points, and there is definitely a lot to talk about because there was a lot that happened going into the next year and especially to end off Serie A. So I hope most of you enjoyed what we got to end off the year. So let's get right into it. So on December 22nd, there was two games, which was Crotone Parma, which finished 2-1 for the Calabrese side, and that was at 12:30. While at 2:45, we had Juve Fiorentina, which finished in a shocking result here. Fiorentina winning 3-0 away. So we're going to talk about that one soon shortly as well. On the 23rd at 12:30 was Verona hosting Inter, where the Nerazzurri not stole the victory, but managed to seal the victory for themselves and go momentarily on top before the Milan game. Then at 2:45, we had the rest of the Serie A matches, all seven of them there. So we had Udinese hosting Benevento, where Inzaghi's men won 2-0. We had Spezia Genoa, where Genoa got their first win, 2-1 since the first game of the season. That is a monumental victory for them. Sampdoria hosting Sassuolo, where Sassuolo took the victory here 3-2. Napoli Torino finished in a 1-1 draw. Bologna hosting Atalanta, that finished in a 2-2 draw as well. We had Roma Cagliari finishing 3-2, and then 3-2 for the Giallorossi, just to state that there. And then Milan hosting Lazio. Milan stealing, well, not, I guess again, may I just like the word stealing it, but stealing the victory late here, and they keep their place on top of the table. So we're going to go back now to the beginning of those games, which was the shocking result of Juve Fiorentina. So I really don't think anyone saw this coming. And this was also a day where Juve lost 6 points. And 6 points, why you might ask, is because Napoli got their appeal, won their appeal in the Juventus Napoli match, which was given to Juve as a 3-0 victory, and Napoli were docked a point by the Federation. Napoli got the first appeal revoked, but then they brought it to CONI, where it was accepted. So now the Juventus-Napoli game will be played. So Juve lost the 3 points there, and now they lost the 3 points they could have gotten if they had beaten Fiorentina. And then Fiorentina, who haven't won against Juve since 2008, where even Prandelli was the manager in charge at that time too. So I believe it's also Fiorentina's first victory at the Allianz Stadium, and they just, like, no one saw this coming. They scored early. Cuadrado was also sent off, which did not help. But there was at times Juve did look like getting a goal. They did play great at times, but they didn't play amazing. And I'm not saying Fiorentina overplayed them. They just took care of their chances. Juve didn't get the best opportunities. I know there are some dubious calls in some instances. Borja Valero also should have been sent off. He should have received a second yellow. There's an incident with Chiesa as well. There's a couple cases maybe for a penalty for Juve on a couple occasions where Ronaldo went down to the box, as well as Bernardeschi when Dragowski pushed him down. And I feel maybe more the Bernardeschi one was more of a penalty. I'm not sure how I feel about the Ronaldo one as much, but both those were not given. Juve just couldn't get anything going on that day. The other two goals came from an own goal from Alexandro. After the first goal was scored by Vlahovic very early in the 3rd minute, and Cuadrado was only sent off after 20 minutes or so. Within the first 20 minutes, as I remember. Second half, Alexandro on goal, and then the third was added by the former player of Martin Cáceres. And yeah, it was just a heavy defeat for Juve. Again, first Fiorentina victory. I don't know if it's a away victory or just victory. I can't remember now. Too many games to be played, but yes, the last time I believe Prandelli was the coach at that time, and it's just incredible because Fiorentina also haven't won for the longest time, but they managed to get it against Juve, who were starting to really play well, really play great. Like they're starting to step up, after especially the victory over Barcelona is really bringing up confidence. Like they hadn't won since October 25th against Udinese. So basically they hadn't won in 2 months. And that was also Prandelli's first win since coming back to the club as well. So he was also struggling, but Fiorentina really got themselves going, and this was an important result for them in their chance of trying to pull away from the relegation zone. And this is one of Juve's worst starts to a Serie campaign in the longest time. They only sit in 6th now. They are technically now 10 points behind league leaders Milan after they had their victory against Lazio. So that's really heavy. I know it's only 13 games played, and there's still lots of games to be played in the season. But right now, that's quite a distance for Juve to be at. Could it look like their 9-year dominance in Serie could be coming to an end? It may seem like that, but maybe Juve can come, depending what they can do in this upcoming window. Like they needed a goal, but they also took off Morata at half. They didn't put on Dybala. It just wasn't their day at all. We'll move on to Sunday's matches now. Again, pure shock from that result. But anyways, moving on to the other days. So we had Verona Inter, which was another talking point as Inter managed to get a victory here. They went temporarily on top until the Milan match was played. They would have hoped that their city rivals could, draw or lose, and they could have gone into 2021 on top of the table. The one thing I do want to say about this game is Handanovic, as much as he is a good goalie, there are a lot of times where he doesn't move for shots and he just watches the ball go in, or he'll make really stupid mistakes. And in this instance here, if no one has seen it, check it out, because it's an absurd goal that Verona had scored. I don't know how Handanovic mishandled I really don't. It was such an easy catch, and he completely fumbled the ball, and Illich just took a clear advantage of it and made Handanovic pay for his mistake there. But at least there, Milan Skriniar was there to save the day for Inter, and he scored his first goal in almost, I think, 3 years for the club. So he gets back to his scoring ways and helped to seal the victory for Conte's men. It was a much better second half for them, and they really managed to play better, get a much needed result, and again, just keep pushing up the table, putting the pressure on Milan. And remember too, they're not in any European competition. So this is where Conte will have to take advantage, considering he is more of a manager who can play better with less games, with the week preparation. He does not know how to manage with games every 3 days. If he has to, he just does not know how to properly prepare. So we'll look to see how Inter will capitalize on less competitions going forward, because it does really benefit um, his playing style, his coaching style for Inter. Quick talking point was Genoa, who got their first victory since opening round, and that did help them, especially against Spezia in this Ligurian derby here. It did help them somewhat push up the table, but they're still in the bottom three. But they do. It did help them getting a victory going into the short winter break. It does give them a good boost of confidence, a huge weight off their shoulders, and they hope to carry that into the new year. But for Spezia, it's another story, as they started off the season pretty great. Like, they were getting points, but now it's like they can't even. They haven't won in a very long time. I think it's almost been a month now, month and a half since mid October. They're conceding too many goals. They're not picking up enough points, or conceding leads, like as we saw against Bologna, where they were up by 2 goals and conceded late on to Musa Bero, a strike from almost halfway line. That was he completely saw Providel off his line. Great to take advantage from that. But they will hope to do better against that. Sassuolo, as we move on as well, were able to rebound after that disappointing loss at home to Milan. They managed to get a victory. Not terrible defending for Sampdoria on a couple of the goals as well. Ranieri will hope to work on that and make sure his side don't concede goals where their defense were very shaky in that instance. We'll talk about now with Napoli, who can perform great at times, but at the same time perform like crap. And the reason I say that is because they really do perform like crap. Like, they're playing below expectations in certain games. And this was also their first draw of the season. Again, in a day after where they learned that they got the 1 point back. And they will have to play Juve, but they had such a great start to the season, but now they're really laying off. Their record right now is 8-1-4, and it's not horrible, but it's not what they would have expected, especially in the first 13 games of the season. 8-1-4, really? That adds up, huh? That's, for some reason, I don't know how that my math is off. It just seemed like it was more. Anyways, like, again, they play good sometimes, as we saw against like Roma when they completely thrashed them, but then they go and lose to tie Torino, not being able to get a result. They didn't play good enough against Inter or Lazio. Like, they really do slack in certain games, and it's really showing. And if put it this way, against they lost to oh my god, I can't remember. They lost to Milan, they lost to Lazio, they lost to Inter, and I feel like they lost against Sassuolo as well. These are games you would see Napoli play better, and I don't know. Like, they had the issue too with Ancelotti, where they were doing the same thing. They weren't playing well enough, and everyone was blaming Ancelotti, and they brought in Gattuso, and he helped change them for a bit. But now it's like some people are trying to blame Gattuso. Okay, I can blame Gattuso for maybe some of the tactical issues, but sometimes with the players, like, I blame the players sometimes. It just doesn't seem like they're up to par and playing for the jersey in that sense, because a lot of times these players need to play for the jersey. They just play to play. They need to fight for the team they're playing for, and it doesn't help when they don't play as they should be. And they were only saved by a late Lorenzo Insigne goal. That would have, and it would have been embarrassing to lose to a Torino side who can't even muster up a victory, who can consistently drop points, and that is another story here on them. And I'm surprised Gianpaolo still hasn't been sacked yet, with only 1 win to his name this season. They find themselves now at last. It would have been embarrassing again it's kind of still is embarrassing for Napoli to draw against a very poor Torino side. But it would have been, again, more embarrassing if they actually did lose to right now the last place team in Serie A. And again, for Gianpaolo, he needs to manage his team in a way where they can't concede, not can't concede, but can't give up leads, and that happens constantly. And that's why something needs to be done in this upcoming window, where perhaps they can strengthen their team or whatever. Because if they do get relegated, they're gonna lose a lot of their players. Like, because I doubt Sirigu will go down with them. Izzo, Belotti, like there are a lot of players for the picking if they happen to get relegated. I know, again, it's very early for anything to happen, but at the same time, the way they're playing, it's almost looking like they could be going down. And you would not think Torino, who not too long ago were competing for a Europa League spot, is almost getting relegated. We don't see that. I do want to also talk about Atalanta for a bit here, because they have also been a team that have been very inconsistent as well compared to the last couple of seasons. They want to fight for a Champions League spot, but they're not sitting too high up on the standings as well. I know they're only 5 points back of third place Roma right now, but the results have been lacking as of late. They only have 2 wins in their last 5 games, which isn't necessarily bad, but it could be better in for Atalanta's from Atalanta's perspective, and especially in this game where they're up by 2 goals and they go and concede and let Bologna come back in the match to a point where they could have lost the game too. And then I know there's also the issues with Papu Gomez and Gasperini, so that's the thing. I know they're saying Papu Gomez is on his way out, but in this instance, who do you keep? Who's more crucial to the team, Gasperini or Papu Gomez? I know Gasperini has helped shape Atalanta who they are, but it's also because of the player and leader that Papu Gomez has been for La Dea. So it's tough to say. It depends who you want to side with in this time and who you think is more in the wrong. Like, I know they had a bust up. I'm not sure for what. I don't know if it's because of the substitution itself, or there could just been some words said. And I know how Papu Gomez has been left out of the team. And again, I don't know who to side with in this instance. Sometimes you got to go with the player. Sometimes you got to go with the coach. So I guess go with your own judgment on who you want to go with. But I feel like whenever you leave out Papu Gomez, you're in for uh, trouble as well. So again, I don't know who you want to keep in this instance. I know Papu Gomez has been linked with Milan, and that would be a huge signing for them in that case, especially with their search to try and finish in the top four and potentially clinch Serie A. I know it's very early to say, but they want to aim high right now. A lot to be seen in this upcoming window and how they will be going forward. 2 more matches to talk about here, and that is so we'll move on to Roma Cagliari. Roma bouncing back after that huge defeat to Atalanta, and like that's the thing, Atalanta went and beat Roma again because of some goalkeeper errors here, and I'm still surprised with Mirante. Like, I don't know why they don't. I feel with Roma, like, they've been very inconsistent with their goalies. Like, sometimes their goalies would play great, but then they just fade off, and I don't know. They've had bad luck with their goalies. They've only had a couple good goalies in the last few years, and those were with Szczesny. He only did last season, but he was one of their better goalkeepers for sure. And of course, Allison, who is now playing for Liverpool. And that's the thing, Roma can't really keep their goalkeepers for too long, and it does cost them as well, and it's harder to replace, Paul Lopez was brought in to be the new starter, but he has looked shaky in a lot of games as well. Then Miranda got the start, now he's starting to look shaky. They've just been very inconsistent with goalies, and that's the thing also with Miranda, is that he is also older. He's like up there. He could be retiring in 1 or 2 more seasons. So they are in need too of a goalkeeper long term. And in my opinion, it would be the goalkeeper they should be going for is the goalkeeper they Just scored 3 goals against in Alessio Cranio. He was saving Cagliari throughout the match, playing incredible saves, denying Roma every chance he could. And yes, Roma did play with a victory here, but Cranio really did put in some spectacular work and did save what he can. I do see him in perhaps being the new Roma keeper if they could go like that, because I don't think he would stay at Cagliari for long. And throughout this match too, Cagliari really deserved an equalizer. They did look like they did play much better against Roma, and that's the thing. Roma can play well throughout the game, but then there's times where they shut off through the game and let the opponent come into the match, start taking control, and they do look like they can end up losing the match. So that's one thing too. Fonseca really has to make sure that Roma stay in control for the full 90 minutes and not shut off for a half hour and let the opposition dominate. So that has been Roma's issue a lot of times, where they do again shut off, as we saw against Atalanta, where they were in the lead and Atalanta just ran rampant throughout the match. And yes, I do know it's because of goalkeeper errors as well, but at the same time, that did welcome Atalanta back into the match. So again, Fonseca has to get his team to be in control for the full game and not try to let the opposition take control and find their way back into the match. Now, to end off all these games with some late drama here as well, was Milan hosting Lazio. Now, Milan has again been the best informed team because with Juve's loss, they remained the only unbeaten team in Europe's top 5 leagues and still remain and still remain the only team to remain undefeated since the restart of like from the lockout season, again going back to last year in the league. So they're on a 26 match unbeaten run in Serie A, and it's very impressive for such a very young team. Pioli has really brought the best out of his players, and last week even against Sassuolo, the average age of his team was 22, 23. So considering how young it is without Ibrahimovic on the field, it's spectacular to see what he's been doing. So now with this match here, Milan, we're missing a lot of players. Again, they're missing Ibra. They're missing Kier. They're missing Gabbia. They're missing Kessie, Benacer. They just managed to bring Rebic and Tonali back into the frame, but they had to play a midfield of Tonali and Krunic. And Tonali didn't look the best informed for this match. Didn't really look comfortable, and I know it didn't help that he was playing with Krunic, who just looked like he was going to get sent off himself with the amount of bad tackles he was putting in. He did not look comfortable in that midfield, and that also doesn't help because you're trying to play off your partner, but when your partner is playing mistakes like that, it really does not help at all. So with this game, Milan did take an early lead thanks to Ante Rebic, and then they got a penalty to which it, like I'm not sure. Like, I think it's been called for the tackle rather, because if you're gonna say it was given for the handball, I really don't think it was there for the handball because it did seem like it hit Patrick's. Oh, I can't even say his name now. Patrick's face. But I think it's just as Patrick slid in to block it, he took out Rebic, and I think that's what the ref gave the penalty for. Milan went 2-0 up within 18 minutes or something like that. But they did let oh my god, Lazio back into the game. They did get a penalty late on in the first half. I'm still trying to think, or trying to see how they got the penalty for that. And I know that's the thing. When refs tend to go to VAR, you kind of get the feeling that they are going to give the call once they review it, because again, they did not give the penalty right away in this instant, but once he went to VAR, he did give it. And again, when you see referees go to VAR, most of the time they either do give, say, the red card, or reverse the red card to the yellow, or give the penalty. They usually do give the harsher punishment after reviewing VAR. So anyways, they got the penalty, but Donnarumma made a magnificent save against Ciro Immobile, but couldn't do much on the rebound for Luis Alberto. Then Immobile gets his goal in the second half with a great volley, beating Donnarumma. Immobile is just in a better position, getting past Kalulu. But Theo Hernandez, scoring late in the 91st minute off the corner, securing the victory here. And that man has just been in fine form since his arrival from Milan last year. He's been incredible for them, just consistently putting in work, getting goals when needed. So they got the work that they got the job that they need to do. They got the victory and went into 2021 on top of the table. And Simone Inzaghi at the end was saying how it was unfair that Milan won, that Lazio were the better team, and they deserve much better. But that's the thing. In football, sometimes the team that dominates doesn't always get the victory. But at the same time, I feel like he's like Conte in some ways, who just makes excuses and blames others for his mistakes. Because I feel, especially that he was at a 2-2 draw for the longest time. You go and take out your he took out Immobile and Milinkovic Savic. Why would you take out your two best players when you're drawing? It really did seem like he was going for the draw there, and it did cost him in the end. His excuse was that they were tired, but there's times where there's certain players you just don't substitute at times, especially depending on the situation of the game. So this one's on you, bud. So no one to blame other than yourself here. But again, Pioli has done great work with his side. Got another victory against a top six team, and just continued to push themselves up in the table. Now, Milan Inter alone at the top. 1 point separates two sides, and like I said, Milan are the only undefeated team so far in the season. We'll talk about a bit about the standings, especially that some games have been played. Quite a few games have been played. Now, again, there's 4 teams with a game in hand. Udinese Atalanta or Atalanta Udinese. I can't remember which one it is, but that match was rained out and postponed to a later date. And then, of course, the Juve Napoli game, which will be replayed. I'm not sure if they said when, but it will be again replayed after the decision was reversed and it was decided that these two sides will be played. So again, at the top of the table, Milan sit at 34 points, Inter at 33, and it has not been for a long time since we've seen these two sides sit alone at the top. And also, just for clarification, I know we were at the winter break, but Milan have not been declared winter champions, because that is usually at the halfway stage, which again usually does take place around this time. But because the season started so late, we don't have 19 games played. We only have, again, the 14 matches played for most teams. So Milan are not winter champions just yet. And again, it's since I believe it's 2000 and I want to say 2003, 2008. Like, it's been a very long time where only one team who have been declared winter champions did not go on to win the Scudetto, and that was Napoli. 2016, 2015, something like that. They were very close, and they just collapsed right at the end. So we'll really like to see how Milan will go forward here. So we have Roma in third right now at 27 points. Sassuolo just behind 26. Napoli again with a game in hand at 25. With Juve sitting 6, 24 points. That's again not looking good. One of their worst starts so far. They are 6-1, 6 wins, 6 draws, 1 loss. Like that, you don't see Juve like that. But again, even from last season, you did kind of still see signs of the decrease in quality. And I know there's times where Pirlo's Juve have looked good, but then they don't look good. Like, they're just very inconsistent this year, and sides that they would usually beat, they did not get the result that you would have thought they got, or that they would usually get. So it's just disappointing for them right now. I will go just a little bit deeper in the standings just because I see Atalanta again is 7th right now at 22 points and Lazio 8th at 21. So I'm just going to stop there because those teams you would think would be higher up in the standings, but they've also just had poor seasons as well. Like, with the loss against Milan, that's Lazio's 5th loss in 14 like in the 14 Serie A games that they've played, and that's also Simone Inzaghi's worst start as Lazio manager. So there's a lot of work that has to be done for his side as well. I know they do have Champions League as well, and they do have a tough fixture against Bayern Munich. They have a lot to work on. And then Atalanta again, who have been very inconsistent. I know they only have 3 losses as well, but sometimes they just don't get the victories that they need. They collapse, and again, I don't know. You're missing a leader in Papu Gomez who does not only have that presence on the field, but he does create those chances for you. He leads the team, so I don't know what's gonna be done here. Anyways, we're gonna go to the bottom of the table. And the bottom 3 right now are Genoa, Crotone, and Torino. Genoa, like I said, got their first win since the beginning of the season, but they still remain in relegation zone. They sit on 10 points, while Crotone has 9, who have picked up their second win in their last 5 games, and it was crucial for them as well. And then Torino, who just continue to drop points, sit last with 8 points. And I know there's other teams that are close to them. Spezia sit 1 point above Genoa, while Parma are 2 points above. And speaking of Parma as well, they just can't seem to pick up victories at all either. They have looked very inconsistent, and they go on to play great against Milan. They tied Inter and Milan both at the San Siro, but they're going to lose against Juve at home 4-0, and then against Crotone 2-1. They've just looked very inconsistent. I don't think Liverani has gotten the best out of his team at all. I don't know if he really suits Parma. I know they've gone over a lot of changes. I know they're missing a lot of players at the beginning of the season because of COVID as well, players quarantining and whatnot, but it's just not looking for like the season that Parma would have wanted. So they do really have to get themselves going if they have any hope of steering clear of the relegation zone. Whew. All right, time to catch my breath a little bit here. So, hope you guys enjoyed my little chat about these matches here. Let me know, just please let me know which games you guys enjoyed, if there's any talking points I didn't miss as well, and what you guys want to expect in this new year as well, and what you guys think some of the teams will try to achieve in this upcoming year. I will quickly touch on the games that are going to be played in the once we resume play in the new year. All the games are going to resume January 3rd instead of 6th, but then again, there is going to be games on January 6th as well. So January 3rd at 6:30, we have Inter Crotone. Then at 9 a.m., we have quite a few games here. We have Roma, Sampdoria, Atalanta, Sassuolo, which should be a cracker considering the way the two teams play. So I know Atalanta will try to get back in that game, while Sassuolo have looked really great this season. So they want to capitalize on an inconsistent Atalanta. Cagliari, Napoli, I think should be an interesting game considering the way that Cagliari can play well, and especially like I said, the way that Napoli are very inconsistent as well. Fiorentina, Bologna, Genoa, Lazio, Parma, Torino, which should be a big game considering the two are at the bottom of the table. So a win would be crucial coming towards the end of the season when that head-to-head becomes really important here. I know some of the teams could change positions later on. It may not be needed, but if these two teams stay in the bottom throughout the season, that head-to-head would definitely be crucial come to the end of the season. Spezia, Verona. So that's all the 9 a.m. games. Then at 12 we have Benevento, Milan. Now this should be a bit of an interesting game, considering that last time Benevento were in Serie A, Milan were the only team not to pick up a single victory against them. They have one loss and one draw, and again, that draw at the Vigorito was where Brignoli stunned everyone and scored, the goalkeeper securing Benevento's first ever point in Serie A. So Milan will hope to do better this time around, going against their former star player, now coach of Benevento, and Filippo Inzaghi. And again, Milan will look to continue their fine run of form before after that they go on to play Juve. So there are a lot of expectations, a lot of heads on and eyes on Milan. And to cap off round 15, we have Juve, Udinese, and Udinese. Again, they have been inconsistent themselves, and will hope to take advantage of Juve and their misfortunes this year. So, what games is everyone looking forward to in the new year? Do you think a lot of these teams, such as Parma, Torino, Genoa, like who do you think will get relegated? Like I feel like we're gonna get some teams that, like, Genoa just squeaked out relegation last year, so I think this could actually be the year that they may see the drop. Crotone, if they continue to pick up points, they can send someone else down to Serie B. And with Torino, like, imagine seeing Torino back down in Serie A. Like, back down to Serie B. Like, I don't think anyone would have expected that at all. So who do you think we will see relegated, like, continue to drop points? How do you guys think the top of the league will look like in the upcoming rounds? How long do you think Milan could continue this run? Like, if they could keep going throughout the rest of the season, like Pioli has done, even if he does find a loss before the end of the season, he's still done an incredible job with the young talent he has. They just continue to have that fighting spirit, and to see Milan enter on top of the league, it's a great sign to see that the way that Serie has changed, and it's not just a one team league sort of thing, right? So be sure to send your thoughts as well, and let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Calcio_bros. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click the bell to receive notifications on all our latest videos. And again, so to see the content and listen to all the other videos we currently have on our channel. And I will hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao!